What's going on, guys? I'm at the Apple Store, backwards Apple logo. We're going to be checking out the iPhone XS and XS Max because I have not actually gotten to get hands-on with these at all yet. So here they are. These are just slight improvements over the XS from last year, is what or the 10 from last year. Slight improvement with the XS. Mostly internal differences is about it with this one. You do have a new color option, which is right here. It is the rose gold, or I think they just call it gold, but it's more of a pinkish, rose gold color. It's hard to see on this camera, but you can see it a lot better in person. It's just a little pinkish tint, and this is added on with the silver and black versions from last year. And overall, the display has not been really changed at all. It's pretty much the exact same display as last year. Like I said, most of the real changes are internal, not necessarily external with the display. Also with the ports and speakers and things like that, you actually do get a little bit better water resistance. Supposedly this can survive 2 meters underwater for 30 minutes instead of 1 meter underwater for 30 minutes. I still wouldn't exactly chance it. I'd say the better thing to do is just not take your phone in the water at all. But I mean, if you do want to chance it, apparently this has a better chance of surviving than the 10, so okay. Internally, you have a new A12 next generation processor that Apple actually does not give us any details on how much better this one is exactly. So can't really tell. It is blazing fast though, but the 10 was also blazing fast. The A11 and the 10 was blazing fast. So because of that, it's hard to tell any difference, discernible difference, between the A11 and A12 from the 10 and XS. All these numbers are getting confusing, but supposedly this is a faster processor. Again, it's not really a noticeable upgrade, so I wouldn't exactly say that's the reason that you should upgrade to the XS is just for the faster processor. But this phone will probably last a bit longer than the 10 did because it's got that faster processor in it, which is pretty neat. Of course, as with pretty much every iPhone ever, we have updates to the camera. If we hop into portrait mode, apparently it's got some better portraitism. I don't really have anybody to portrait with. Apple Store dude. Just kidding. So anyways, there's not really much of anything to portrait with there. So I don't really know. Apparently it's a slightly better portrait mode, something like that. And apparently also HDR photos are a bit better now. So I just kind of want to see that. I don't even know where the HDR button is. They've moved it. I don't know. I don't know at all, but wherever it is, supposedly better HDR, which is good, because HDR on my 6 sucked, and I know they've probably made other improvements since then, because the 6 is actually pretty old now. Poor phone, but anyways, better HDR, I guess. In terms of video recording, apparently the XS is going to have better color range, and that's also going to have support for HDR in video, because before you could only do HDR in, what's it called? You can only do HDR in photos before. Now you can do HDR in videos, which I can't really test all that well in the store, but I mean, it's here, I guess. And it also now records stereo, which is pretty neat. I don't know why it didn't do that before, but it does now. The audio now records stereo instead of mono. So, I mean, again, those are some pretty neat changes. Not really anything I can really show off or test here. But I mean, the fact that it's there is good. Like I said, the stereo is something that probably should have been there before, but it's there now, just FYI. Oh yeah, pretty much all of those enhancements before made on the outward-facing camera have also been improved on the FaceTime camera. So hey, we can take a portrait now. It's gonna be nice. That looks so weird. Oh, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Stabilization here is also apparently improved, which is good because whenever I take videos, I have very shaky hands. So I always like to use a camera with good video stabilization, or fix the video stabilization later. It's good to know if I ever want to film with this phone, if I ever get anything like this. I'm probably not going to upgrade, but hey, that's a thing. Also, compared to the original 10, you're going to have about 30 minutes of extra battery life. I mean, I guess every bit of extra battery counts, but 30 minutes doesn't sound all that significant to me. Again, that's something else I can't really test here in the store, but I mean, it exists. It exists. But what I can test out and show you in the store is the iPhone XS Max. This ridiculous thing is basically just everything from the XS but bigger. Here's what they look like side by side. For comparison, this is how it looks in my already huge hands. It is an enormous device. I just tested a second ago. I can barely fit this thing in my pocket, so that's pretty nuts. But yeah, if we place these side by side, I can really show you the difference here in size. Yeah. So the apps are a bit more spread out. Overall, nicer looking there. Like I said, it's pretty much the exact same, you know, tech specs between phones. They use the same processors. Of course, you are going to get a technically higher resolution on this phone because there has to be more pixels to maintain the same pixel density. But of course, they're the same pixel density though, so it's not really a significantly better display. It's just, you know, larger. It really is enormous. Yeah, you can go into a lot of different apps and just screw around with it, and it's really, really fun. Here's some of the preloaded photos Apple just put in here for no apparent reason. And yeah, it is a huge screen. Can we put one of these full screen? Yeah, it's pretty enormous. Yeah, I can just sit here all day, screwing around with some apps and things like that, showing you them in. Yeah, just web browsing in this is amazing, I have to say. Like, all the graphics are so enormous on the screen. But with all that said, it almost seems a little bit too big for me. If I was ever going to upgrade phones, I would probably upgrade to a smaller, like, original 10 size. It's about the same size as the iPhone 6, which is what I have now, which is kind of the perfect size phone for me. This is just a little bit too massive for my comfortable gripping and fitting in pockets. But if you did want that, you did want a larger screen, I mean, this is a pretty good option. It's enormous. Also, you're getting about an hour longer battery life on this than this. If you're kind of wondering what they used all the extra space for, it was apparently for the battery internally. So that's really the only internal difference between these in terms of specs. Is you're going to get an hour longer battery life here. This still has, I'd say, a decently long battery life because my 6 has okay battery life. This is probably better. This even better, a whole extra hour. But yeah, that is basically the iPhone XS and XS Max new for this year. Not too many huge improvements, just a little bit, a minor improvement. It wasn't really time for a major upgrade, I'd say. You don't really need to have a major phone upgrade every year. So this is fine, just a little tech update to keep it up to date. But overall, kind of similar. XS Max is insanely ridiculously huge. If you actually want that, have fun. I'll probably be sticking over here at some point. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.